Lewis Hamilton will be 40 next year when he starts his career with Ferrari.
Huge breaking news. Lewis Hamilton is going to be leaving Mercedes and joining Ferrari.
He'll be joining Ferrari in 2025.
And it doesn't look like he plans on retiring anytime soon. Hamilton is easily one of F1's most amazing drivers. The guy has seen many ups and downs throughout his career. Throughout it all, he's broken numerous records, cementing his position among the elites of the sport. So let's take a look at his career in detail. Hamilton's road to victory started at a very young age. When Lewis was just a kid, about 5 years old, his dad surprised him with a remote-controlled car. And guess what? By the time he was 6, Lewis had already raced in the National BRCA Championship and secured second place, and he was competing against adults. This was huge because it showed Lewis and his parents that he was good at racing. So, with that spark of talent, Lewis jumped into go-karting at 6, with his very first go-kart coming as another gift from his dad. Even though money was tight, Lewis's dad, Anthony Hamilton, made a deal with him. He'd support Lewis's racing dream as long as Lewis did well in school. Lewis was all in, and by 1993 he was racing go-karts, winning races, and even championships. By the age of 10, Lewis was already the youngest winner of the British Cadet Karting Championship. Then, a huge moment for Lewis happened in 1995. He went up to Ron Dennis, the boss of the McLaren racing team, during an awards ceremony and introduced himself. Dennis was impressed and told Lewis he'd think about him for a spot on the team. 9 years later, he kept his promise and got Lewis into McLaren's driver development program. This was the beginning of what would turn out to be an incredible F1 career for Lewis. But there's a bit more to the story before he became the racing legend we know today. It all started in 2001 when Lewis stepped into the racing scene with single-seater cars. He quickly showed what he was made of, landing a solid 7th place in his first series. This amazing start helped him reach the 2002 Formula Renault UK Championship with Manor Motorsport, where he secured an impressive 5th place. Lewis was determined to win. He stayed with Manor for another year, and guess what? He smashed it by winning the championship. But that was just the beginning. In 2003, he made a bold move to the British Formula 3 Championship, and despite a few problems like a race-ending puncture and a crash, he kept pushing forward. 2004 was a big year for Lewis. He finished 5th in the Formula 3 Euro Series and even secured a win at the Bahrain Formula 3 Super Prix. This is when Williams was very close to signing Lewis, but a little problem with BMW sponsorship meant he stayed with McLaren. It turned out to be a blessing in disguise, as McLaren had big plans for him. By 2004, he was testing for McLaren, and in 2005, he was absolutely unstoppable in the Euro Series, winning an impressive 15 out of 20 rounds. He didn't stop there. He also won the Marlboro Masters of Formula 3. And to top it all off, Autosport recognized him as one of the top 50 drivers of 2005. Then, in 2006, he entered GP2, another big moment in his early driving career. So, Lewis was up against some amazing drivers like Nelson Piquet Jr. and Timo Glock, but he surprised everyone by grabbing wins in Monaco and at both Silverstone races. Sure, there were problems in Hungary when Piquet Jr. started catching up, but Lewis wasn't having any of it. He came back strong in Turkey, secured the win, and showed everyone he was here to stay. Coincidentally, McLaren needed a new driver right after Lewis's killer season in GP2. With Juan Pablo Montoya off to NASCAR and Kimi Räikkönen joining Ferrari, McLaren was on the lookout for someone to team up with Fernando Alonso for 2007. And who did they pick? Lewis Hamilton, of course. But McLaren kept it a secret for nearly 2 months. They didn't want Lewis's big news getting lost in the buzz around Michael Schumacher's retirement. So in 2007, Hamilton was finally a part of Formula One. Starting his journey with McLaren, he set a massive record even before the season began. That's because he became the first black driver in F1's history, breaking barriers that stood for decades. Now, his debut season wasn't easy, especially with Fernando Alonso, a two-time champion, as his teammate. But even with the challenge, Hamilton made an amazing start at Albert Park, overtaking Alonso and Kubica to secure second place. He eventually got a podium finish, making him the first driver to debut on the podium in F1 history. But that's not all. Hamilton's rookie season in Formula One was amazing. After a string of podium finishes, he got his first victory at the Canadian Grand Prix. Over the season, he secured 12 podiums, 6 pole positions, and 4 wins, narrowly missing out on the championship by just 1 point. Even with this disappointment, his remarkable debut season remains unmatched in F1 history, and he just continued to raise it higher and higher. Since in 2008, Lewis Hamilton made history by becoming the youngest Formula One world champion in just his second season. Then came the season's climax at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Hamilton only needed to finish 5th to secure the title, but with the rain, this was getting tough. With fierce competition like Sebastian Vettel, Hamilton held on to 5th place in the final laps. As the race neared its end, Hamilton faced a challenge from Vettel, who passed him after a slip caused by Robert Kubica unlapping himself. With just 3 laps left, Hamilton fought hard to regain his position, but Timo Glock's slower pace ahead gave hope. When Massa crossed the line, it looked like he'd won. But at the very last minute, we saw both Hamilton and Vettel overtaking Glock, securing Hamilton's championship victory in an epic finale. Now, while to many people the guy was doing great, Hamilton decided to take a gamble. He switched to Mercedes in 2013, and it wasn't the best decision. With new regulations for 2014 favoring Mercedes, it paid off for him. Teamed with childhood friend Nico Rosberg, their rivalry got even more intense over the seasons. In 2014, Hamilton had 11 wins in a season-long battle. The following year, he dominated with 10 wins, matching legends like Vettel and Schumacher, securing his 3rd title just like his hero Ayrton Senna. Valtteri Bottas stepped up as his partner after Nico's retirement in 2017. This brought a more peaceful partnership compared to the previous duo. Despite Bottas' strong qualifying performance, he often struggled to match Hamilton's race pace. The following years saw a fierce title battle between Hamilton and Ferrari's Vettel. In 2017, Vettel led the championship early on, but Ferrari's consistency waned towards the end. Collisions and reliability issues ruined their chances, allowing Hamilton to secure the title with 2 races remaining. And then in 2018, Lewis Hamilton had an exceptional season, securing his 5th title with 2 races to spare. Even with Sebastian's consistent presence in the title fight, mistakes on Ferrari's side played into Hamilton's hands. The following year, Hamilton faced tough competition from Ferrari, particularly in engine power and qualifying speed. But Ferrari's mistakes throughout the season handed Mercedes both titles. In 2020, Mercedes' aerodynamic excellence and Hamilton's stellar driving led to another dominant season. This culminated in Hamilton getting his 7th title in Istanbul, equaling Michael Schumacher's record. By this time, he was a legend through and through. But for every rise, there's also a fall. And in the intense battle of the 2021 season, Hamilton was expected to get his 8th F1 title. But just 7 laps to go in the season finale, a crash by Nicholas Latifi led to a controversial end as Max Verstappen claimed the championship. The FIA later acknowledged human error in the race director's decisions. Following the disappointment, Hamilton took a break from social media, sparking speculation about retirement. But he came back for the 2022 season, signing a new contract with Mercedes. For Lewis Hamilton, it was an unusual season. Despite not securing a win, he made it to the podium in 9 out of 22 races. Much of his focus was on helping Mercedes fine-tune their car through experiments, even if it meant sacrificing his own results. Moving into 2023, the challenges persisted for the 7-time champion. Even with upgrades, Mercedes' pace remained relatively unchanged. But Hamilton showed his prowess by securing the pole position in Hungary, proving he's still the same driver McLaren signed all those years ago. And to prove this, Lewis has recently made yet another gamble, just like he did before. The F1 world was absolutely shocked when Hamilton's shift to Ferrari was revealed in early February 2024, especially with his previous hints of retiring with Mercedes. Although he had signed a deal with Mercedes until 2025, a release clause allowed him to join Ferrari after wrapping up his final year with Mercedes in 2024. Maybe he's pulling off big moves in search of that 8th championship win. Anyway, if you want to check out some more content on F1 racing and its history, make sure to click on this next video.